Good morning, everybody. I know y'all just noticed me shaking my head like this. It's because I was trying to figure out what I want to talk about today. Today is simple: fear failure. That's what we're going to talk about today. Failure is actually a good thing. You know, some people always see it as that, okay, I lost, or I came up short, or I didn't accomplish my goal. But sometimes accomplishing part of the goal is just not giving up. Fear of failure has been sometimes instilled in us, even at birth, because we have so many generational curses going through our body and our mind that it almost seems like failure is just meant for everybody to happen. If you look around at this world, it's destined for the people that are evil to win and the people that are good to lose. So it made some people question, how does God exist if evil keeps happening, but it seems like good gets thrown to the side? Well, that plays the biggest role as to why God exists, because if things were so perfect, what would we need God for? If everybody was successful, what would separate each other from others? How can God determine who's one of his warriors if we don't go through anything? If it was that easy, then Jesus didn't have to suffer on the cross. Jesus could have just annihilated everybody and made this world perfect. It'd have been too easy. You know, God wants to have his glory. And so giving God his glory can mean us leaning on him, us praying to him, us worshiping him, us realizing that we are flawed individuals. And it goes back to the fear of failure. Don't be afraid to fail. You see, true failure is giving up. True failure is worse than giving up. True failure is not even trying in the first place. You see, a lot of people around you, sometimes our bodies and our natural energies adapt to the environment that we're around. And while the environment plays a role, it doesn't make us who we are. We have control over our own lives to make us who we are. You could be surrounded by drug dealers. You could be surrounded by drunkards. You could be surrounded by gossip. You could be surrounded by so many things. But every day you wake up, that's a blessing from God that we wake up. Every day we have a chance to choose. Are we going to be just like this person? Are we going to be just like this person? Are we going to be like this group of people? Are we going to be argumentative? Are we going to do things that's against God's word? We have a choice every day. So no one's choosing the choice for us unless we allow it. And what I mean by allowing it is, if you have a friend in your life and say, hey bro, let's go smoke some weed, and you just say, okay, your friend didn't do nothing wrong. You did something wrong by allowing your friend to determine the decision for you. You see what I'm saying? But again, getting back to the fear of failure, understand that everyone in life at some point is going to fail. I know we look on TV and look at these celebrities, and we look at all these people that have these large houses and cars and all that stuff. But I guarantee you, all of them have had failure in their life. Even people that have hand-me-downs, and even people that are born into money, they're still going to go through failure. They may not go through it for a while. They may have an easier life for a while. But at some point, failure is going to hit them. Because again, everything is under God's control, everything. That's not saying God won't allow things to happen to teach a lesson. But all of this is of God. But remember, God didn't create sin, and God didn't create all the corruptness that's going on. Mankind created that. God just created the world. God created the earth, the universe. God created us. But it was up to us to use this blessing, which we are God's blessing, and bless others. But unfortunately, what mankind has done is mankind more than often, if so, have corrupted others and have corrupted this world. So that's why failure is this around us. Why is it that 1% run the world? I'm not saying that all the 1% are evil, but if I look at the math, 1% runs the world, right? Maybe that 1% decide to do something different than the 99%. You know, there's a lot of people that complain about their situation, but they never do anything about their situation. We wake up every day complaining and miserable and mad at the world, mad at God, mad at life, but what is that doing? Because so many people are so afraid to fail that they rather wake up like a hamster running on a wheel doing the same thing every day, because they're afraid to get uncomfortable. They're afraid to get out of their shadow because their pride won't allow them to fail. And you have to allow your pride to go down, and you have to allow yourself to fail sometimes, because again, if you want to be a millionaire, how are you going to become a millionaire if you're just working a 9-to-5 and you're afraid to invest your money into something? Because it takes money to make money. If you want to lose weight, then how come you're not putting yourself out there and going to the gym? Yeah, you may not be in the best shape. Yeah, you may not be able to lift the most weights. Yeah, your body may be different than some of the others that's there. And yeah, you may be looking around comparing yourself to other people's bodies, and you're like, dang, why can't I have that body? You see, your pride won't allow, your pride is grasping that mind up here, because your mind controls everything. So your pride is holding you back from putting yourself in that position to go through failure and then eventually lead to success. I'm gonna quote one of my guys. His name is T. Smith, and I've quoted him a few times, but I gotta quote him again. I remember he told me this 10, 11 years ago. You got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. So what that means is sometimes you got to put yourself through the fire. Not saying you're going to get burned, but you are going to, come out of there with some pains and some aches, but eventually it'll cool off, and eventually you'll be at a peace part. But again, if you don't try, then you're not going anywhere. So even though you may be safe, you're never going to excel. You're never going to know what failure feels like, which means you're not going to know what success feels like, because most people fail before they succeed. Now, some succeed and then fail, but it just depends on how a person leads their life. Fear of failure is definitely forced into the minds, especially of minorities. I'm not just talking about black people. I'm talking about Latinos. I'm talking about foreigners. I'm talking about, people that aren't of our white brothers and sisters. They have it a little easier. But pretty soon, they're going to become the minority over the next 30, 40 years, because the world is getting colorful. There's a lot of mixtures going around. So that's getting rid of their dominance, and the minorities are going to slowly creep up over time. That's if we're all still alive, or unless the rapture comes. But there's no excuses. We are in control of however we want to live our life. It doesn't matter about racism. It doesn't. I'm not saying that doesn't play a small role, because yeah, absolutely. If you interview for a job and you may be next to a guy that's lighter than you, and you may have locks and that person may not, and they may look at this guy as a safer fit. Yes, that happens. I'm never going to say racism don't exist, because it does exist. I remember Lil Wayne said that there's no such thing as racism. I respectfully disagree with Lil Wayne. Racism does exist, but racism doesn't force you into a life that you can't live. We can't speak for our ancestors that were enslaved. I don't mean just black people. Blacks were enslaved, Latinos were enslaved, whites were enslaved, Asians, Chinese, everybody was enslaved by their own people. Everybody. And slavery even goes back to the Bible. So we can't just use this whole, we need reparations because of what one race was put through. Everybody was enslaved. That's not something everyone wants to hear, and I know most people, if I was in front of a crowd and I said that, most would probably cuss me out, mostly my own people. But it's the truth. If we know scripture and go back biblically and spiritually, and it ain't even just got to be biblically. If you go really, really way back, everybody was enslaved. Everybody. And I've said this in multiple videos, my black brothers and sisters, we can't just be angry at white people. We also got to be angry at our own people too, because we enslaved each other. We sold each other for money. And then let's look at how we treat each other today. A lot of us are so angry at the white race, but we take our anger out on each other by killing each other, putting each other down, you know, causing a divide in all these gender wars. Like, again, these people are choosing to do that. Now, how does this relate to fear of failure? It relates because it all deals with how you choose how you want your life to go. If you choose to want more out of your life, then you're going to do more. If you choose to not want more out of life, then you're going to wake up doing the exact same thing. Because as long as that job is paying you enough to cover your bills, most people will be comfortable. As long as you look at your body and you're like, you know, I look good, I don't need to go to the gym, then you won't go to the gym. As long as you say, okay, I'm comfortable in my marriage, I don't need to work on nothing, my spouse don't need to work on nothing, okay, you're gonna go, you see the pattern? As long as you're comfortable, you're gonna live the same type of life every day. And that's why every day, even when you become successful, because in my opinion, the worst thing other than failure and to get into that success is succeeding and then losing it all. In my opinion, that's worse than not even being up there. At least when you're there, all you can do is go up. When you start at ground zero, the only way is up. The only way is up. So you may have a dream. You may have dreams of being a musician, an NBA player, a firefighter. You may have dreams of being whatever you have dreams of being. You either have a choice every day you wake up. You have 24 hours. We all have 24 hours. What are we doing with that 24 hours? And yeah, we got to sleep. Our bodies need sleep. And yeah, unless you're working for yourself and making a living, most people aren't working for themselves. So you have to give about 8 hours of work unless you're working overtime. So let's just say on average 6 hours of sleep, 8 hours to a job. And then some people may have to drive to work. I'll say on average 45 minutes. So you have roughly 9 hours and 40 minutes of time to work on your dream. So what are you doing that's going towards working towards your dreams? Are you watching TV all day? Are you on social media? Are you gossiping? Are you partying every day? Are you playing video games every day? These are questions we got to ask ourselves, because doing these things is what adds to the fear of failure. It's like, I have this dream, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of that, but I refuse to do something about it. I refuse to take control of my life because I'm scared. And I remember my mom told me some years ago, she said one thing she admires about me, and this is not me tweaking my own horn, I give God all the glory for how I am now. She said, there's so many things I want to be, but whenever I see you, I just don't see that fear that I had. And I see that you're going to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. And I'm not where I want to be in life financially. I'm not where I want to be mentally. I'm not where I want to be spiritually. I'm not where I want to be physically. But that's why, and just to add the spiritual part, but I like to divvy it because not everybody believes in God. So I want to make sure I'm talking to everybody. For the ones, especially like me, that believe in God, if you're saved, if you're not saved, get saved. And God could guide you and produce the works that your Holy Spirit is going to do for you, that's going to guide you toward those dreams. Now, let's just say if you're not spiritual, okay? Because one thing I try to do is I don't try to force God to talking about God on everybody, because not everybody understands God. Not everybody wants to talk about God. Not everybody wants to hear about God. And that's understandable. Again, I don't agree with it, spiritually especially, but everyone has their own experiences. Everyone has their own perspectives. And so my job is to respect everybody at their work, respect everybody. Because God already knows what we're going to say before we say it. So for the people that are non-God believers or unbelievers, I would say, again, if you whatever you're trying to get in life, you got to do something different. Because if you do the same thing, you're going to get the same results. But if you do something different, there's a chance. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. There's a chance that you're going to get different results. You see what I'm saying? At the end, every day you wake up, it's on you. It's on me. It's on us to make sense of the type of day that we want, the type of week. Whatever we do today gives us a preparation towards our future. And our future is not guaranteed. We're not guaranteed to wake up tomorrow. We're not guaranteed to wake up next week, next month, next year. We're not guaranteed to make it to our birthday. Tomorrow is not a guarantee. The only thing we could guarantee is what we are in control of whatever we do today. Nobody has a gun to your head telling you how to live your life. Nobody's threatening your family. Nobody's threatening any of that. You have a choice. You could choose to avoid failure and just play it safe, or you could go through it. You may succeed. You may fail. But guess what? At least you tried, right? You may feel away, but you got to get back up. It's just like riding a bike. How many times have somebody failed, put cuts on their leg, all of that, and their parent or in my case, grandparents have told me, get back up, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. You see what I'm saying? It never ends. You got to understand that true winners never give up. True winners aren't always the ones that reach that milestone. True winners are what you've become as you're going through the trials and tribulations to reach that milestone. And as Les Brown would say, the person you become. Because that person you're becoming as you're on the way and path to that journey, you're going to look back and be like, that's where I was. I'm going to make sure I keep that same drive, because that same drive got me out of here. I remember you all, just to give you all a personal story, I had about $100 to my bank account, to my name. I had my last $100. I didn't have a lot of hope. I had rent. My credit was jacked up. I couldn't buy my woman no things. I was broke. I felt like a shell of myself. I was mentally stressed out because it felt like I worked all that time and I only have $100 to my name. $100. I went from there, from $100, that same year, I went from $100 to 5 figures in 1 year. Just hard work. Granted, I had a job that did, base plus commission. Shout out to that job. But it took hard work. It wasn't easy. They wasn't going to give me all those commission checks. I had to earn them. Could I have changed some things? Absolutely. I wasn't perfect. I'm not perfect now. No one's perfect. But all we can do is just try to live right. Try to treat people right. Try to make God happy. Because at the end of the day, we're all, and this is whether you believe in God or not, we're all born sinners. We're all born evil, wicked people at our core in our heart. That's in the Bible. We are evil, wicked human beings. Evil. But even though that's instilled inside of our heart, all we can do is try to fight against that every day. That's all we can do. And going back to my personal story, this was a job that turned me down the first time. I had to take a test. I passed one half and then failed the other half. And they stated that as long as you don't fail both, you're good. They changed their mind just like that and said, no, we don't want these people. We're not going to take them. And the same opportunity came back again. And I remember this. I think I forgot her name. I don't want to say her name on YouTube, but I think I know her name. She reached out to me because I was a former person that was employed with that company. And I told her what happened. I said, I'm not interested. I don't want nothing to do with you all. I forgot my words, but they left a bad taste in my mouth. But that opportunity came back again. And for those couple years, it changed my life financially. To where even when I was without work, even as my income was going down, I was able to live off the money I made from that job for about a good 2 years. Just from the money I made from that one job. So I had to go through that failure. I had to go through that. I had to go through different jobs that unfortunately wasn't to my liking. Unfortunately, it didn't get me to the level of where I want to grow. I had to go through those jobs to get the job that I'm at now. And the job I'm at now, I love it. This is the best job I've ever had. Is it the highest paying job? No. But has it allowed me to have more peace versus all my other jobs? Absolutely. Is this a job that I wake up, even though I can't wait to work for me in the future? Until that happens, this job is helping me work towards that dream. This job is helping me pay my bills. This job is helping me invest. So that way I'm working towards my dream at least 5 days a week. And I use that example, you all, because I had to go through all those jobs where I had to drive an hour and a half, where I was part-time, where I had to deal with people, customer service, sales, the high pressure. I had to go through all of that before God put me at this job where I have no sales. I barely have to talk to people. I don't have high pressure metrics. I don't have to drive anywhere. I don't have to fight the snow. I could be in my pajamas, log on, and do my job. See what I'm saying? And even though this is not my end-all be-all, because my dream is to work for me. That's all y'all gonna know. My dream is to work for me. I want to be my own boss, not even for money. But I want to make sure that however much time I have left on this earth, I want to make sure that I get my time back. Because money comes and goes. But all that time you lose, you can't get that time back. You could lose 5,000 today, but you could gain it back. Once you lose all them years, you can't gain it back. And I want to spend my time with the people I love, doing things I want to do, traveling, seeing parts of the world. Now, granted, traveling all over the world is not a big deal for me personally, because I know when I get to heaven, if I'm, worthy by God's will, I'll be able to see so many things that is this world times infinity. And anybody should be shooting for that. I'm talking about my believers. Anybody should be shooting for that. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you're an unbeliever, shoot for the stars, at least while you're on this earth. I will tell you, if you are an unbeliever, you are going to hell. That's a fact. That's not I know this is an inspirational video, but the facts are the facts. If you die an unbeliever and you've never got saved, you're going straight to hell. That's a fact. Now, if you die and you're a believer in God and you got saved, you're going to heaven. But as I always say, we have a choice to either go to heaven and just be safe and be naked, or go to heaven and earn an opportunity based on the works that we've done for God's kingdom, and earn opportunities for rewards when we get to heaven, to be clothed in that white garment and have those crowns on our head. That's what we should be striving for every day. And all good works that we're doing is all towards God's kingdom. So every time you treat somebody right, it's going towards God's kingdom. Anytime you pray for somebody, it's going towards God's kingdom. Anytime you sacrifice parts of yourself for somebody else, you're there for someone. You're trying to live right. You're abstaining from certain sins. You're going through temptation and coming out on top of temptation. It's all going towards God's kingdom. And God is monitoring our every move. God is monitoring everything we do, anything we think about, anything that's in our heart, our conscience. God is monitoring all of that. And all that is going to be taken into context by the judgment seat of Christ. And remember, only the believers are going to go to the judgment seat of Christ. The unbelievers are going to go to hell, and they are going to go to God's great white throne judgment. Okay? But just to, round it back to the unbelievers, because I could talk about God for hours. Y'all already know. To wrap this video up in less than 30, don't be afraid to fail. Failure is a part of life. If you think about it, failure and success are opposites of each other. But one thing we got to understand is that anything good could be used for evil, and anything evil could be used for good. And so, if you're failing doing something the hard way, that means God has an easier way for you. But if you're failing doing something the easier way, that means you got to take the harder route. You see what I'm saying? Failure could be used for success, because your failures could lead you up to building up that perseverance, that resilience, that confidence, that determination to succeed. So that failure could build you up to success. But get this, your success could also prepare you for failure, because if you take your success for granted, if you stop driving, if you stop pushing, if you stop going hard, and you just think, okay, I'm at the top, I'm good, eventually you're going to fail, and eventually you're going to fall, because a person's pride won't allow them to keep that success forever. A person's pride will make them think that I'm good, I got it, I don't have nothing else I need to do anymore, and that pride is going to bring them back down. Just like anything positive could be used for negative, and anything negative could be used for positive. Two positives make a positive. A positive and a negative makes a negative. Get this, and a negative can make a positive. So I know I'm kind of going different angles in this convo, but it's all connected. It's all connected. Success, failure, connect. All set. Success, failure, connect, 7 letters, right? Come on now. We talking. We talking now. So whatever you want to accomplish, stop making excuses. Stop worrying about what anybody else thinks. And I had to learn that too. I had to learn not to do too much of this, and to move slowly, move in silence. I don't need to tell everybody my dreams, because not everybody's going to understand. I don't need to tell everybody about God, because not everybody's going to understand. If I want to touch somebody spiritually, I need to pray for them. If I want to touch somebody through this world as far as success, then I could plant a seed, but it's up to them of how that seed is going to grow. I can't force anybody's seed to grow. You can't force anybody's seed to grow. Once you plant it, then it's up to them to water that plant so it could grow. Okay? Nothing is standing in the life of your dreams other than you. Not racism, not the higher up, not the elite, not Donald Trump, not Barack Obama, not none of these politicians, not none of these doctors. No one is standing in the light, and no one is standing in your way of accomplishing your dreams of a better life other than you. Okay? So get to work. It's 2025. I pray that whoever watches this video, I'm going to send a prayer that God could bless not only myself, but anyone that's watching this video now or in the future with a life of abundance. Because we are all we got. We got to stick together, pray for each other, lean on each other. You know, it's too much hate and anger, and so incest is so much bad in this world. But it's also a lot of good if people come together and allow themselves to do good. All right? So be blessed, y'all. I'm going to say this one more time and I'm done with this video. Do not be afraid to fail. Be blessed, y'all.